Hey, so where can you bring me back to where your art journey started? Your foray into the arts. Like, how did that happen?
Shit. Remember I told you, like I didn't go to art school. I mean, art high school, but we niggas barely did art and that shit. So my enthusiasm as being an artist, like after leaving high school, was like my focus was like mainly basketball.
Were you drawing at that time at all?
Yeah, I was drawing. Mainly at that time was just like a hobby.
Okay.
Like I got some downtime. I'm kind of good at it and shit. Let me just do it and shit, just to escape.
Yeah.
Like that was like one of my real notions, cause my whole thing was like, shit, niggas back in the day was, I'm trying to make it to the league.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And me, I'm a realistic. I'm like, yeah, I'm good at basketball. I ain't that good and shit. Especially there's 1,000 niggas up. Nah, let me find something that's more in my lane, more in my pace, and more of who I am. And even though basketball is still who I am, basketball taught me a lot, and it's a high influence into my art as well. And shit, like as far as like how I practice my art, my discipline towards my art, the methods that I use over and over and over and over and over to sharpen, brush skills. You know what I mean?
Saying that came from the sports and like how you practice every
It came
day.
from sports and it came from culinary. Being in culinary school taught me a whole lot of discipline, and it built a lot of character within me. You know what I mean? How to stay focused on something, how to pay attention to every little detail, and how to cater to another life force at the same time. You know what I mean? Because like dealing with culinary is life or death. You can't play with that shit.
What you mean? What do you mean by that?
Life or death is like, you playing with food. And food, you consume food, is either going to be pleasant or it's not going to be pleasant. You know what I mean?
I mean, for me, I understand because I have a seafood allergy. So I'm super, I'm hyper focused on, whenever I go into a restaurant, I always pay attention to the spoons and the tongs that they're using.
Mm-hmm.
So I
make sure they're not mixing contaminating and stuff like that.
There's some places that do it.
They do it. They don't give a fuck. They still do it.
Indiscriminately. They don't care. And when I go in those places, I usually just walk out. So I understand what you're saying in terms of it being life and death.
Yeah, bro.
But
yeah. So like just being in that environment, fast paced, knowing how to do something at a fast pace and strategic timing, and you're in the midst of chaos right there. That's why I love like being in culinary, because culinary is like you're at the heart of chaos. Everything fast paced. Yo, get this. You on the line. Like, oh shit. Then at the end of it, it's a beautiful, perfect dish. Know what I mean? So and that's the science and the component that I got out of being in culinary. But that shit was stressful as a motherfucker and shit. Cause I was a baker at the Cheesecake Factory and I was a prep cook at the Yard House while still doing culinary classes as well. And culinary classes started like 5:30 in the morning, cause like prep cook, when you prepping, it usually starts like early, like real early. You know what I mean? So I was tired, stressed out. I mean, I went from a 0.3 GPA down to a 2.1. Dean hit me up. He was like, yo, Just, you one of our top students? Like, what's going on? Like, come on, what's happening? Then I told him, like, yo, this shit stressing me the fuck out. You know what I mean? Like, it's actually making me miserable, like, working in this environment. Then he was like, yo, what are you good at? Then I just showed him, like drawings that I've done, like, in high school and when I do my spare time. He was like, yo, you're actually good. He was like, yo, finish this last semester, and I'll write you a letter of recommendations to, like, any art school you want to transfer to and shit. But I took his advice, like, halfway. Or kind of not halfway. I just took his advice. I was like, you know what? But I'm going to do it my way. You know what I mean? I ended up not finishing the semester. Like, I quit both jobs at Cheesecake Factory, at the Yard House. Like, I was done. I was like, you know what? And it was just a calling. Like, being an artist was just calling to me. And shit, I like, nah, let me just leave this. Let me just focus on learning how to get better at being an artist. Linked up with my homie Josh, who was a spray painter and graffiti artist and tattooer. Shit, looked in with him, started hanging out with him again. We went to high school together. Then the creativity started coming out even more. You know what I mean?